The burning bush, when God calls, He empowers. Wait, don't skip this. This moment changed history, and it started with fire that didn't burn. Moses was once a prince in Egypt, but now he was a shepherd in the desert. 40 years forgotten, 40 years feeling unqualified, 40 years thinking his story was over. One ordinary day, while tending sheep near Mount Horeb, Moses saw something strange. A bush. On fire. But not burning up. Curious, he walked closer. Then he heard a voice. Moses. Moses. He froze. Here I am, he replied. Do not come any closer. God said, take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. This wasn't just fire. This was God. God said, I have seen the suffering of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries, and I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring them out. Moses panicked. Who am I that I should go? What if they don't believe me? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? But God answered every fear with one promise. I will be with you. Not, you are strong enough. Not, you are smart enough, but I am with you. God turned a shepherd into a deliverer. A runaway into a leader. A man full of doubt into a man full of power. And that burning bush, it was a sign. God's fire doesn't destroy what He touches. It transforms it. Closing message. If God is calling you, but you feel afraid, unqualified, unready, remember this. When God calls, He also empowers. He doesn't choose the ready. He readies the chosen. Call to action. If this message spoke to you, like, share, and follow. Someone needs this today. Baby Moses, from danger to destiny. Wait, don't skip this story. This baby was supposed to die, but God had other plans. Long ago in Egypt, Pharaoh made a cruel law. Every Hebrew baby boy must be thrown into the river. But one mother refused to give up on her child. She hid her baby for 3 months. Every cry made her heart race. Every knock made her fear. Finally, she did something brave. She made a small basket, covered it with tar, and gently placed her baby inside. With tears in her eyes, she whispered, God, I trust you. She laid the basket on the Nile River, not into danger, but into God's hands. The river carried the basket quietly, past danger, past death, toward destiny. Then something amazing happened. Pharaoh's daughter came to the river to bathe. She heard a baby crying. She opened the basket and saw a helpless child. Her heart melted. This is one of the Hebrew babies, she said. But instead of fear, she felt compassion. She decided to raise him as her own. And the baby's sister, who had been watching from a distance, ran forward and said, Shall I find someone to nurse the baby? Pharaoh's daughter agreed. And just like that, the baby's own mother was paid to raise her own child. Only God can do that. That baby was named Moses. And one day, he would grow up to lead millions out of slavery. What the enemy meant for destruction, God turned into deliverance. What looked like danger was actually destiny. Closing message. If you feel surrounded by fear, if life feels uncertain, if the future feels scary, remember this. God can turn your basket into a breakthrough, your river into a rescue, your danger into destiny. Call to action. If this story touched you, like, share, and follow. Someone needs this today. The 10 plagues God fights for His people. Wait. Don't skip this. This is the story of how God fought when His people couldn't. For over 400 years, the Israelites lived as slaves in Egypt. They were beaten, tired, forgotten, but not ignored by God. God sent Moses to Pharaoh with one message, let my people go. Pharaoh said no, so God moved. The river turned to blood. Frogs filled homes. Gnats covered the land. Flies swarmed the streets. Animals died. Boils broke out. Hail destroyed crops. Locusts ate what remained. Darkness covered Egypt for 3 days. Still, Pharaoh refused. Then God warned of one final plague. Every firstborn in Egypt would die, except in homes marked with the blood of a lamb. That night, sorrow filled Egypt. But Israel was protected. And Pharaoh finally broke. Go, he said. Leave. Chains fell. Doors opened. Freedom came. Closing message. If you're tired of fighting alone, remember this. God fights for his people. When you can't move, God moves. Call to action. Like, share, and follow if this spoke to you. Crossing the Red Sea. God makes a way where there is no way. Wait. Don't skip this. This miracle happened when there was no escape. The Israelites had just left Egypt. Freedom was finally theirs. But suddenly, Pharaoh changed his mind. Behind them, an army. In front of them, a sea around them, fear. People cried, Moses, we're going to die. But Moses said, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Then God spoke, raise your staff. And the impossible happened. The sea split, walls of water rose on both sides, and dry ground appeared where water once stood. Children walked, mothers carried babies. Elders stepped forward, faith replaced fear. When the Egyptians chased them, the waters returned, and God's people were safe. Closing message, if you feel trapped, stuck, with no way out, remember this, God makes a way where there is no way. Call to action, like, share, and follow for more faith stories. Manna from heaven, God provides daily. Wait, don't skip this. This is for anyone worried about tomorrow. After leaving Egypt, the Israelites entered the wilderness. No food, no farms, no supplies. They complained, why did we leave Egypt? At least we had food there. But God didn't scold them. He provided. That night, quail covered the camp. The next morning, something new appeared on the ground. Thin flakes like frost. They asked, what is it? Moses said, this is the bread the Lord has given you. Every morning, God sent manna. Not for weeks. Not for months. For 40 years. But God gave one rule. Only take what you need for today. Those who took too much, it spoiled. Those who trusted, they had enough. Closing message. If you're anxious about tomorrow, remember this. God provides daily, not always early, not always extra, but always enough. Call to action. Like, share, and follow if you believe this. The golden calf. God is merciful, but calls us to faithfulness. Wait, don't skip this. This is a warning and a promise. While Moses was on Mount Sinai, the people grew impatient. They said, where is this Moses? We need a God we can see. So they melted their gold and made a calf. They worshipped it, danced around it, forgot the God who freed them. When Moses came down and saw it, his heart broke. But God didn't destroy them. The people repented. Moses prayed, and God forgave. But God also warned, follow me alone. Closing message. If you've drifted, if you've fallen, if you've failed, remember this. God is merciful, but he calls us to faithfulness. Grace restores. Faithfulness sustains. Call to action. Like, share, and follow if this touched you. The 10 Commandments, God's rules, protect and bless us. Wait, don't skip this. These weren't rules to control. They were rules to protect. God called Moses to Mount Sinai. Thunder roared. Smoke filled the mountain. The ground shook. And God spoke. He gave 10 commandments, not to imprison his people, but to guide them. Love God. Honor your parents. Do not steal. Do not lie. Do not murder. Do not envy. God wasn't building chains. He was building character. He wasn't taking freedom. He was protecting it. Closing message. If God's commands feel hard, remember this. God's rules protect and bless us. Every instruction is wrapped in love. Call to action. Like, share, and follow if you believe this. Water from the rock, God supplies in impossible places. Wait, don't skip this. This miracle happened in a desert. The Israelites were thirsty. No water, no rivers, no wells. Children cried. Parents panicked. People complained. Moses, why did you bring us here to die? Moses prayed. And God answered, strike the rock. Moses lifted his staff, hit the rock, and water poured out. Not drops, not trickles, a river, enough for everyone. From a rock, in a desert. From nothing. Closing message. If your situation feels impossible, remember this. God supplies even in impossible places. He can bring rivers out of rocks, and hope out of hopelessness. Call to action. Like, share, and follow for more faith stories.